Hello, I'm Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity, and today we're going to talk about an interesting study looking at, it's a study looking across 10 studies encompassing 68,000 people, and it provides some interesting insight into mask wearing, because I've certainly put out the research and my opinions on the research that's been out, where masking has certainly been quite the subject of conversation. If you really look at it, asymptomatic masking in a community setting, it wasn't going to turn anything around. It's good for a couple points of community spread. Nothing compared to something like exercise or vitamin D or eating better. But we wasted a lot of effort and energy discussing this. And this article kind of really made sense to me. And what they did was they looked at people. This was done in China, or the studies were done in China, and they looked at whether or how much mask wearing affected deviant behavior. So there were two hypotheses. First of all, wearing a mask, the whole bank robber, you could now do things that you wouldn't otherwise do, and so maybe rob banks, cheat, steal, whatever. The other hypothesis is that by wearing a mask, it was almost a moral contract. And sure enough, they found out that the people that were wearing masks were less likely to do things like running a red light, park their bike in a no parking zone, cheating for money, doing deviant behaviors in the library. I'm not exactly sure what that would entail, but I'm sure we can get our imaginations running. But maybe it's just like putting something in the wrong Dewey Decimal spot. But either way, it was clear that in China, that people wearing masks had better moral behaviors. And so how many people out there wore and stuck to masking, not because ultimately they felt it was helpful, but because they felt they were being a better person as a result of wearing a mask, and not so much that they believed the research. I think that we're going to find that was largely a huge chunk of people, and very few people actually looked at the medical research, but they just felt that it was the right moral thing to do. And when they're doing that, they have a tendency to follow other moral guidelines, like no urinating in the corner in the library. So again, just wanted to point this one out. I thought it was a very interesting study, and really kind of makes sense that the whole mask thing wasn't just about the science behind it. It was about how people felt and why they were wearing masks, and rather than the outcomes that they were hoping to achieve. And still, Twitter's an interesting place. There's still a lot of people, despite the evidence not being very supportive, still think that we should bring back masking, and are very angry with people that don't in public scenarios. As always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs information, and subscribe to the channel.